And today it took like 2 seconds.
Yeah, amazing. Well, you are live, my dear.
Oh, lights, camera, action, huh? Okay, everybody. Well, thank you all for joining today for Realtor Safety. The only thing that I would just ask you is you're welcome to unmute and share. But if you're not talking, just mute so that I don't get a whole bunch of feedback. But today we are going to talk about realtor safety, because in an ongoing effort to keep safety top of mind for members, NAR has dedicated September as Realtor Safety Month. And their aim is to make it home for every realtor to make it home safely to their family at night. And we seem to face, you know, some job-related risks every day. And while it can be a rewarding job and an enjoyable career, many of us find ourselves in situations throughout the day that put us at a little bit higher risk, such as traveling alone to vacant properties, visiting unsafe neighborhoods, showing property during evening hours. And we do all those things to just simply fulfill our everyday requirements of our job. And every year, the beginning of the year, NAR sends a survey out to its members. And at the beginning of 2020, there were actually 45,069 realtors across the United States in NAR. And they sent out surveys to everyone, and they got a little over 3,000 surveys back. So only about 6.7% of the realtors across the nation took the survey. But of the realtors that they surveyed, 72% of realtors surveyed said they had not likely ever experienced a situation that made them fear for their safety. So that's great. Yay, over 72%. But that still leaves 30% of us that did feel unsafe over the last year in one particular situation or another. And so as I was reading through the report, the top 3 situations that realtors get themselves into was they felt unsafe after receiving a threatening or inappropriate text, email, phone call, or voice message. During a showing while meeting a new client for the first time at a property. We can take ourselves out of that position if we do it correctly. And then during an open house where they didn't exactly follow safety protocol. So those were the top 3 where they felt unsafe. 96% of realtors have never been a victim of a violent crime or a crime while working in real estate. So that's good. 96% of us. So over the last 12 months, 39% of the realtors that were surveyed admitted that they have met a new prospect alone at a secluded location. So take yourself out of that situation. 51% of agents that were surveyed admitted that they had hosted an open house alone or without the proper safety protocols in place. And out of those 51% that said that they had done that, 23 of them said that they did have a time when they did not feel comfortable. 40% of agents admitted that they showed a vacant property in an area where there was little or no cell phone coverage. And out of the 40% of agents that admitted that, 34% said they did feel unsafe doing that. But there's kind of a, to me, when I read through this report, there's a little bit of an ongoing, hey, we didn't quite do exactly what we were taught to do. And we're putting ourselves in positions that we don't need to put ourselves in. You have control over that. 38% of all realtors have taken a self-defense class. 49% of realtors choose to carry some sort of self-defense weapon. 19% of us carry pepper spray, and there are 14% of the realtor population that do carry a firearm, followed by pocket knives, tasers, noisemakers, or some sort of stick. And those were all very, very low percentages. 72% of all agents have safety protocol in place that they follow with every single client. 72%. I thought that was really admirable to see that there was just a really high rate of agents that take care of their self and their safety. And women, females, are more likely to follow safety protocol than men, and we also make up 66% of the realtor population. So that was kind of the statistics from the report that they had. So the key component, and a lot of it is common sense, right? A key component to staying safe on the job as a real estate professional is to be aware of dangers of the profession and to take precautions accordingly. So today what I thought I was going to do is the first part of my slideshow is just kind of common sense things that realtors can do to keep ourselves safe. And then the second half is a kind of a list of things that you can present to your buyers and sellers, and it's just safety protocol to keep them safe and make you look like a hero for thinking about them, and also just it's the right thing to do because we want everybody to be safe and happy through a transaction. So I'm just curious before I kind of get started, because there's like 26 of you on the call. Has anybody on the call ever felt unsafe at any time or another in your profession?
Yeah, actually me, when I was brand new. So I was showing some places to a client that I had that could really only afford to buy in some sketchy neighborhoods.
Uh-huh.
And it was wintertime, and she had to look after work. And against my better judgment, we went to some places at night. And at one point I drove up to the street and I'm like, there's a bunch of gangbangers doing a drug deal next door. And I said, you know what, maybe I need to like rethink this. So yeah, that was a little bit of a wake up and a new agent mistake.
Anybody else? All right. Well, you know, it happens to all of us at some point, maybe, or at least, 30% of the time you might fall into that category. So here's just some things to think about and to keep us all safe. So the first thing, don't meet people at vacant properties. Have them come into the office. CETO, come into office. We all learn that right up front. Look at there. We have 7 beautiful offices across the greater Austin and San Antonio area. There is never, you're never really out and about where you don't have a JBGoodwin office that you can go into. So use those. It's the first step in realtor safety, right? Is to do your initial meeting where you are working and have them come in and you can figure out if they're a ready, willing, and able buyer. It's where you can start your file on them. You can make sure that they have been vetted and pre-qualified by a lender. You don't want to go show property to people that haven't been vetted by a lender anyway. So get them to come into the office. If they haven't already seen a lender, you can get them with one of our great premier nationwide loan officers who will take 10 or 15 minutes to vet them and kind of let you know if they are actually truthfully a ready, willing, and able buyer. It also gives you the opportunity to make copies of their driver's licenses, You're free to do that. You could take a picture of their car license plate number. You know, right now we're not exactly putting people in our car during COVID, or at least most of us aren't, but you can take a picture of the car they're driving and their license plate number. You can make sure that you have a list of all of the properties that you're going to see, and make sure that you leave it with somebody. So getting them to come into the office is the first step in realtor safety. Don't be too public. You know, where's Waldo? Everybody's trying to find Waldo. Just don't be too public. It's best to use the office address on all of your, you know, on the bottom of your email, on business cards, anything professional. Don't use your home address. There is actually no reason that anyone should ever need to know where you live unless they're friends of you. I just saw a question pop up here in the chat. How often do you get pushback on getting a driver's license? Never. I've never once gotten pushback. I say I need to take a copy of your driver's license to start my file. Look, you can't take people to a apartment complex or anything. They want copies of your driver's license. In fact, they don't make copies of it. They hold it and leave it in a drawer until they're back. Copy of the driver's license. They'll give it to you. Just like if you were going to go into anything from getting your teeth cleaned to your tires rotated to a massage, you get a whole clipboard, and they want copies of everything on you, and you sign your life away. So no, if they want the service, they'll do what you ask them. But don't be too public. Make sure that everything is just very professional, and you always use the business addresses for all of your correspondence. Stranger danger. Okay, everybody remember the buddy system. Since the time you were old enough to walk and talk, your mom, I'm sure, said, grab a buddy, go with your sister, hang on to my hand, take a friend, don't go alone. All of that. Because we were all taught that criminals come in all shapes and sizes. So always let someone know where you're going and when you're going to be back. And all that stuff that you just collected at the office, the driver's license, their photo of their tag on their car, a list of properties that you're taking these people to, I suggest that you always leave that with someone. And it can be somebody in the office manager or whatever, and let them know what time you're going to be back. But a lot of times we're doing this at night and on weekends when we're not in the office. So, I mean, I leave everything with my hubby, and I would suggest that if, you know, you don't have a spouse or a partner, that you have just a work buddy that you kind of give things to, or text them and say, hey, I'm taking these people around. We're going to look at 5 houses. I should be back in, you know, a few hours, and then check back in with them. That's just a great habit to get into. Get me out of here. Yes, get me out of here. Okay, I know I get asked a lot by my agents who say, okay, Tam, I get it. I'm taking buyers around and I'll get them to come into the office. But what about when I'm going on a listing appointment? Those people I don't usually, you know, have come into the office. We're actually meeting them at their home. And so what happens then? How do I get out if I need to? Well, I have a little two creative ways. One is you could drop off a pre-listing packet to their house ahead of time that has maybe a CMA or part of your digital listing presentation printed out and bound in a nice book. And so you're actually dropping something off ahead of time that they have time to look at and prepare for your meeting. Or It's been a very, very, very long time since I was in the dating world, but there was a time when I was going on dates. And come on, did you all have that friend that you said, ooh, I got to go on this date. I'm meeting this guy. Hey, listen, call me at 8:20 just in case I'm not feeling it, or I want an escape from the date. You can call me and I can all of a sudden have an emergency that I need to attend to at home or whatever. Well, you can do the same thing on a listing appointment. If it's, none of us go anywhere without the phone pretty much attached to us. It's like our third appendage, your phone just pretty much lives in your hand 18 of the 24 hours that we're having a day. So just excuse yourself and say, oh, I'm sorry, I just need to get this. If you need to get out, it's great. You answer it and you have your getaway story. I've got to run. We just had a family emergency. Oh, I'm so sorry, whatever. I mean, if you're feeling uncomfortable, who cares what the excuse is? You just want to get out. And if you are feeling comfortable and everything's going fine, you can say, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me get rid of this. And you can send a quick text that says everything's fine. So that's just a good way if you're working with a seller that you aren't going to have come into the office, that you can go ahead and get out of there if you need to. A code red. I would suggest that you all create a distress code, a secret word, or a secret phrase that's not commonly used, but can be worked into any conversation that you might have in front of a client, and one that the person that you're going to be talking to knows what it is. So my code red for my husband, because he would not always remember my secret words, is just the red file. If I ever call and say, hey, babe, can you just get me some information from the red file on my desk? He knows that I'm in some trouble and need some help. So it can be anything. That the red file is just mine, but you can make it anything you want. I always tell them, now remember, there's not really a red file on my desk, right? It's been a few years, but remember, there's no red file on my desk. That's just my safe word, my help call. So whatever it is that you come up with, and whoever it's with, but it's not a bad idea to have some sort of code that you can say and get some help. Give the impression that you're not alone and that you're partnered with somebody. That's just a really good one, to talk in we instead of I. Yes, we'd love to show you the property, or maybe you're at an open house and you don't feel comfortable at some point. You can say, oh yeah, we're doing this open house until 4. And even though the we may not be right there with you, it does give the impression that there is somebody close and expected. When you're walking through properties with buyers, right now it's been really super easy because sellers are asking us to not turn lights off, not touch things, walk through hands-free. So it's easy to say, oh, I'm sure there's a showing right after us. We just need to leave all the lights and everything on. But talk in we's, and even if just anytime, yeah, we'd be happy to show you the property. We'd be this, we'd be that. Just make it so that it's not just you or I. Keep it light, keep it light. Show properties before dark whenever is possible, and never attempt to show lease properties after dark. Most lease properties that we're going to show are going to be vacant, and usually the landlords do not turn the power back on. The power just goes from the previous tenant to the new tenant. So lots of times there is no power on. So you certainly don't want to be going into a neighborhood and showing lease properties after dark, number one, you're not going to be able to see anything. Now, with for sale properties, they do need to leave the utilities on, and as winter draws near and we go through the time change and stuff, sometimes we are still out at 7:30, you know, trying to get a few properties in after work. But by the time you're showing properties to buyers, you've probably been out with them a time or two before, so maybe you're not worried about them, but also you want to keep them safe too. And it's just not a real great idea to drive around after dark in neighborhoods that you're not familiar with. They can't see the yard if you're showing it to them after dark. They can't see the pride of ownership from the other homes that are around them. They might love the house and drive by the next day in the light of day and go, eeh, ooh. So I would just, my suggestion to you is always keep it light. Make sure you're showing properties during the day. If you have to do it at night, know where you're going. Maybe go do a property preview ahead of time so you know exactly where you are going at night. And I would also suggest that y'all, I know we all carry our phones around and now these things do everything. And there's a flashlight right here on it, but and it's pretty bright. It does the trick, right? An iPhone's got a great flashlight, but I would encourage you just to put a big old mag light underneath your seat in your car. I know I have one, and you know, it's pretty heavy. If I conked somebody in the head with my phone, it probably wouldn't do a whole lot. But if I smack them up alongside of the head with my mag light, I think that's going to get their attention if I need to get away or have some extra protection. So just keep a flashlight in your car. Don't get blocked in. Don't get blocked in. When showing a property or holding an open house, or if you're going to meet somebody, park your car in the front of the property rather than in the driveway. In fact, parking across the street from the house, if you're working with buyers, allows them to take it all in and not have the curb appeal blocked by your car anyway. But pulling up in somebody's driveway just allows somebody to pull in and block you in, and that's never a good idea. If you needed to get out of an open house or anything quickly, I'd want my car on the street where I could get in it and not worry about being blocked in and them not knowing which car is mine. So do yourself a favor and don't get blocked in. And it's just really a professional courtesy not to park in somebody's driveway anyway. Park on the street. Don't make yourself the target. Don't make yourself the target. Lose the glamour shots on the business cards and on your marketing. They might be lovely and you might like them, but leave those for, you know, where they're appropriate. So lose the glamour shots. Make sure in your professional photography that it's called professional for a reason. Make sure it's professional. I would encourage you to not show houses dripping in diamonds and jewels. Just leave those at home. You don't need to you know, look like you're going out on the town. Leave those at home. That way, you know, you're not a target. They're not after your expensive jewelry. Fancy purses, carrying a lot of cash, put them in your trunk. If you're taking it with you, I would put them in your trunk and leave all that stuff there before you show property. Just, you know, don't make yourself the target. I love this picture because I put this slide in actually right after that because I just think that this realtor right here looks so professional. You know, it's the kind of look that everybody would say, yeah, she looks professional and she doesn't have big rings on and jewelry and she's not the target of anything. She's just doing her job. So just keep an eye on your surroundings. Know your escape routes of the house. If you're doing an open house, know where all the doors are. when you're showing property, my suggestion is always let clients go ahead of you. And if the house is, if you let them go ahead of you, they can go ahead and they can see the whole vision of the room that they're going in, and you're not going to get trapped in the room if they're not the people that you thought they were. So just let them go ahead of you, and you can follow up behind. You can keep an eye on the door. And if it's a vacant house, there's no, you know, you can let them go upstairs and you can stay downstairs and let them go through the house kind of on their own. The V word, vacant, 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 vacant. There's just no reason to use it. It just invites trouble. People just don't need to know that the house is vacant. If you're the listing agent, you don't need to let people know your house is on the market and it's vacant. I mean, it's going to be in showing details for other agents to see, but it's not something that you're going to put out there on the internet. This great vacant house, you know, we're not going to describe that. And if you're going to show somebody a home that you don't quite know, again, we'll be happy to meet you and show you that house, but you really don't need to invite unnecessary situations by letting people know it's vacant. Just don't use that word. My little Edward Scissorhands here. I know that most of our cars and everything are keyless start, and we don't walk around with keys too often, but keys do make a really good weapon if you need to have something quickly by lacing them through your fingers. I know a lot of people, pepper spray or some sort of spray was the #1 thing that a lot of agents use. So you can pick that up at stores. So just a couple little tricks there. There's a lot of apps now for safety. I put this link in here and we'll share, this is being recorded and everything, and we'll share the slides with you, but NAR has on their website, there's a number of apps that people can use for safety. Now with Share My Location, I mean, that's just one of the things that I do when I'm showing property with my hubby. I just share my location with him. That way he knows where I'm at, and he has a list of all the properties and everything that I have. I know both in Austin and in San Antonio, in the last couple years, we have had a consultant from Guard Llama come in where you get the little clicker and it's an app on your phone, and you know, you can have that little clicker in your person. You give it a couple little clicks and Guard Llama calls you back, the dispatch calls you back, and if you don't answer your phone, they dispatch help to you, and it's all GPS, and it's not just location, but it's also goes by altitude as well. So it lets people know if you're on the 2nd floor, the 4th floor of a building. So it's not just GPS, it's also exact pinpoint of floor. So there's a lot of apps out there, safety apps. There's a number of them that are out there. You can look at a bunch of them on the NAR website if that's something that you want to look at. But even just on your iPhone alone, you know, if you take the little button and you push it quickly a number of times, there's an SOS thing that will send help to you. You could, like I said, you can share location, come up with a code word, the red file or whatever as well, and leave all that with your buddy. Hopefully we won't ever have to use any of this, but if we did, at least you have it in place. So always trust your gut. I could sit here and, you know, talk and continue to tell you a bunch of safety things, which a lot of these, I'm sure as we're going through, you're kind of thinking they're common sense things, but sometimes common sense just kind of flies away when we're in a hurry and we got a lead and we want to get there and it won't hurt. I'll just run and meet them there. But always trust your gut. it knows what your head hasn't figured out yet. And if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And just follow your gut. That way we all get home safe and sound. And that's the goal of the job every day. Do the job, get home safe and sound. So that's kind of all of I had for things to keep you all safe. So now we're going to go on to safety awareness for your clients. Starts with you, right? It starts with you. And there's going to be a lot of things that they don't necessarily think about. And so it's going to be up to us to keep them safe. So I think what I did, I started with sellers. So the first one, your super lockbox, I mean, that is the #1 safeguard against everything, right? We're not going to put combo lockboxes on homes where there are people in them. You can't keep track of who's coming in or going. Super lockbox, the only people that can get into it are people who are licensed through TREC. So appraisers, inspectors, and other realtors. We've all had background checks. We've all had fingerprints. We are vetted through the state. So that's a pretty good start of keeping your clients safe. And then let them know they should never show their home by themselves. You know, people are driving by, there's a sign in the yard. It's not uncommon for people to stop and go knock on the door and try to talk to sellers or see if they can take a quick look. Predators come in all shapes and sizes. And just inform your clients that they should refer all inquiries to you and just say, nope, I'm sorry. You know, your agent will have to contact my agent, or I can give you my agent's contact information and let us handle it, right? Because if they want to come in, they can get vetted through an agent and then go through the house. Don't put your people in a situation for them to feel unsafe. If they wanted to feel unsafe, they'd be doing for sale by owner, okay? And they're not. They're doing it with us. So it's up to us to keep them safe. And the NAR Super Lockbox ensures that those keys don't fall into the wrong hands ever. And so that's why we use it. You know the junk mail pile. It's on every counter of every house you've probably ever walked into. In fact, if you walk into your own kitchen or office, you might see one. That is your own personal pile of information when it comes to bills and credit cards and bank statements with your bank account numbers on them. All of that stuff. Remind sellers that it's really important to get rid of that stack before showings. That should be locked up, put away, shredded, not have all of that out to get into the hands of the wrong people. So that little pile of junk mail that doesn't look like anything, you know, if they open up the Wells Fargo envelope or slip it into their pocket while they're in there from an open house, I mean, it has your bank account numbers on it. So just make sure that they're getting rid of that stuff out of sight, out of mind. Them, even if they don't password protect them, they should. You know, so that nobody can just walk up and jump on their computer. And if they have laptops, iPads, Kindles, any of that smaller electronic stuff that could just grow legs and walk away, they should probably just put that in a bottom desk drawer or somewhere where, again, out of sight, out of mind. Kind of while we're in that vein and on that topic, firearms, prescription drugs, and jewelry are 3 top items that seem to be sought after when you're in a stranger's home. So make sure that if they have prescription drugs, even putting them in the medicine cabinet, I mean, that's the first place that people are going to look if that's what they're after. So I would have them take their prescription drugs and not maybe keep them in the bathroom, keep them in a different drawer or cabinet where somebody wouldn't look first. Costume jewelry is fine, but you know, if they have some more expensive jewelry, that might be something that they just want to lock up in a safe, or even whatever jewelry they might want to be locked up. And same with firearms. Have them put them in a gun safe or hide them out of sight, out of mind. You know, don't leave them where people can open drawers. People aren't supposed to be going through their drawers when they're going on showings or during an open house, but you don't know what people are thinking, and they tend to look at a lot of different things. So again, put them away. Fido and Fluffy, our little fur babies. They are absolutely the most precious thing to most people outside of your, you know, kids and your spouse. It's like your fur, well, maybe your fur babies are more important than your spouse. I don't know, but they're number one. They are high, definitely high on the list. So I would encourage you, when you're talking to sellers, to make sure that they have a plan for their pets. Okay, leaving them in the laundry room with the door closed isn't really a good plan. People want to see the laundry room. They are going to want to open the door and go in. So if they need to leave them in the house during an open house or during showings, I would suggest that they are crated. If the best thing is just to take Fido with you, you know, come home, get them, take them on a walk. If they actually, you know, sometimes they can't catch the cats or whatever, I would say you as the listing agent, it's really would behoove you to make sure that there are signs on the doors that say this is special. Please don't let the cat out. It is inevitable that sellers are going to, you know, walk out and everybody's not going to be behind them, and the door gets left open to the back patio and out goes Kitty. And, you know, you're going to spend the next 45 minutes trying to get that cat down out of the tree. It's never been out of the house before, but the door was left open, and then guess whose fault that is? So if you are a listing agent and pets, especially cats, need to stay in the house, it is so important that that information is not just in the agent remarks of MLS, but posted in the house so that buyers can see that as well. Because otherwise, it's all on us to remember it. So if you're a listing agent, just make sure that that stuff is posted. But the best thing you can do for these little guys is take them, have them out of the house for showings and open houses. Don't get locked out. Any listing agents on the call got the call from your sellers that said, hey, we're in the garage, we're locked out, somebody locked the door between the house and the garage and we can't get in. Happens all the time. You know, as much as we all know not to lock that door, inevitably our buyers think they're helping, and you know, they go around locking doors. So I would just tell your sellers actually up front, take a key with you, keep it in the cup holder of your car or on your key ring, or hide one in the garage, because if you don't, inevitably they are going to get locked out at some point in time during the time their house is on the market from people overly helping. And the first call is going to be to you, and inevitably you never live right next to where your listings are, and you're going to have to travel halfway across town, or you're going to be frantically trying to get a hold of the last agent that was there to see if they are still close enough to go back and let your clients in the house. So just get it out of the way up front and let them know that that kind of thing happens, and to take a key with them at all times. COVID safety, probably common sense right now. I think we've beat this horse into you guys since March. So I know, you know, masks, gloves, hand sanitizer. But even though COVID has been going on for a while, you know, the next phone call you get and the next person that puts their house on the market in October and November, it's new to them now. Just like it was new to our buyers that were in March and April and May, and when all of that stuff was very much top of mind. Now we just kind of take for granted again that this is all getting done. But just remember that buyers who are going through the process right now, or sellers that are going through the process, don't know our process. And so it's important to just keep them apprised that yes, we can do video meetings, and yes, we can have masks and hand sanitizer and gloves when people are going through your house, and it can be touchless showings. Please leave the lights on, doors open. There can be hand sanitizer stations. You know, we can do listing appointments virtually. We can do buyer appointments virtually. We can walk through and take videos. And so all that big COVID message and procedure that we've been talking about for the last 5 months, just don't forget that if somebody is now a buyer or now putting their house on the market, they don't know what our protocol is. And that is probably the most top of mind thing on everybody's mind still, is how do we do this during a pandemic? So just make sure that you're reiterating all those safety procedures that we have in place. Kind of moving on to buyers now. Wire fraud, as you all know, is one of the top cyber concerns in our industry right now. So remind your clients or tell your clients that, look, you are never, ever, 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 and I would tell them this up front, you are never, ever going to get an email from me that gives you wiring instructions. And if you do, please just pick up the phone and call me, because I am never, ever going to send you an email on wiring instructions. And, you know, there have just been many stories. I know that all of the office leaders have shared them in sales meetings before, where, you know, agents, not in our company, thank goodness, have gotten hacked, and people have wired, you know, big down payments to the wrong place and were gone and didn't get to close on their house. And the title companies have shared a lot of scary stories. So it's really important that your client verify with the title company what the wiring instructions are and how to go about that. You can verify that they have the correct number to your escrow officer that you've you know, put in place to help them. And usually all that information comes in a very secure PIN number required email from the title company. But if your clients have any doubt at all, it's best that they pick up the phone and call who they were originally talking to, not the person that's listed in the email, and make sure that they verify with the title company exactly what they're supposed to do. Changing the locks. That's something that I think, you know, right now, buyers get all excited and they're moving into their house and, you know, they're unpacking and all of that. And I think it's one of those things that maybe they kind of forget about. But the first thing I would do is have all my buyers make sure that they go through and change the locks. You know, that's something that's only $89 to $129, and it makes part of a great, you know, closing gift is to get the locks changed for them. Lots of times right now on home warranties, lock change comes with the home warranty for, you know, $75 or $89, and so it comes with that. But just remind them to get that done as quickly as possible, because even though they might have gotten 3 keys at closing, you know, that's not all the keys. You know, Tommy had keys and Billy had keys and Jane had keys and the dog walker had keys, and there was one hidden outside and the neighbor had a key and whatever. There's probably a lot of keys to their house floating around. So it's important that they get the locks changed. Also make sure that they get all the codes to the keypad. You know, you can lock your doors from your phone and all that. So make sure that you get all of those codes from the sellers so that you have them and can punch in new codes for themselves. The other thing to do is note that many of us have home link on our cars, so maybe we're not using garage door openers, right? The garage door opener, you know, you went through the process and you look up and push the button on your roof console to let yourself in the garage. So that's one of those things that if you go on the garage door opener itself in the garage on the big mechanism where the tumbler is, that you make sure that you recode that so that when you do your home link, it's different. And if anybody pulls up in their car from the last time, it no longer works for them. So just remind buyers that they need to change all those codes right away. One man's garbage is another's treasure. You know, let's not advertise what we have. I would say when people are moving in and they're buying lots of new things, and there's TV boxes laying out by the street of a very nice large outdoor TV for the patio. Well, if it's an outdoor TV, you're just advertising to the world that it's back there. So make sure whenever they're buying electronics or, you know, anything for the house, that those boxes all get broke down and folded up and not advertising to the world what you have in the house. I would say that's a good reminder for all of us with the holidays and different things coming up. You know, sometimes we all think about, hey, they're stealing our stuff off of our porch that Amazon just delivered, but you know, watch your trash too, because after the holidays, when we all get new stuff, that's just letting the world know what's in the house. So be careful of that. Homestead exemptions. Y'all know anybody that purchases a house right now in 2020 or whatever year they purchase their house, come January of the next year. So for us, January of 2021 to April 30th of 2021, that's when the new homeowners get to file their homestead exemption. But anytime they close on a house, whether it be in March or April, May, June, July, any month at all, the buyers are going to start getting a lot of very official looking junk mail with some very official stamps on it that say it's time to file your homestead, and for, you know, $150 we'll do it for you, and how much did you pay for your house, or for $40 we'll do it for you. And they all look very official, but I will tell you, the county never sends anything to the people about filing their homestead exemption. Okay, that's something that they have to pursue. So all of that stuff that they get in the mail can just go in the trash. And I usually will tell my buyers when I'm sitting right at the closing table with them, you're going to get a lot of very official looking stuff that says file your homestead exemption, and it's going to cost you $150 to do it, or $45 to do it, or we'll do it for $25 or $89 or whatever the number is. Just throw it all away. Homesteads are filed for free. They're done the following year. I promise, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I'm going to send you a reminder. I hope all of you do that. I know as leads of all the offices, we start reminding you in January that that's a good way to reach out to all of your clients and see how they're doing, and to remind them that it's now time to file their homestead exemptions. And the title companies are really good about helping you with those links. So don't let them get scammed with those $89, $129, $49, whatever it is. Let them know that they can just throw all that stuff in the trash. Let me see, I just saw, let me look in the chat here. I had a customer reach out to me on Instagram asking for my bank info to send me money for a house. I told her she would have to send money to the title company to buy the house. This customer ended up being a fake profile customer. Yeah. Well, good job for telling him, don't send it to me. I found NAR has this video out on their website, and so I thought I would share it with you today, and it's something that you could share with your clients that lets them know kind of the home buying process in a very cute way. And so it's just something that if you want to put in your toolbox that you can certainly send to them. And it's real estate, safety, and you.
Real estate professionals are in a unique position that most working professionals never face. They often share their contact information openly with others, meet unknown clients, and walk through vacant properties, to name a few. It's because of the unique nature of this business that it's critical for all real estate professionals to have a personal safety protocol in place that they follow every day, with every client, every time. And that includes with you. So, what kind of safety protocols might your real estate agent take? When meeting you for the first time, your agent might not meet you at the property right away without first having an initial meeting at the office, regardless of you or your agent's gender. You wouldn't want to meet a stranger at an unknown location, would you?
Hey, how you doing?
No. During the initial meeting, your agent may make copies of your driver's license and pre-approval letter for their records. This precaution allows the agent to keep a record at the office of who his or her clients are and a calendar of appointments. When first meeting with your agent, you'll also discuss the types of real estate you're interested in and walk you through the process. Now your agent can arrange showings, meet you at properties, and schedule open houses to help you through the biggest financial decision of your life. When viewing a property, your agent may ask that you drive separately. Please don't be offended. This is a safety precaution for you as much as it is for your agent. Not to mention you may both have appointments to go to afterward.
Hey, this is cute.
When viewing a property, you may need to sign in with your name and phone number or show a photo ID. This is so the seller's agent knows who entered the house. If you were opening your home to strangers, you'd want to know who was there too. As you tour a property, your agent may walk behind you. This is not only a routine safety measure, it also allows you to see the room first and make your own impressions. And many agents won't go into attics, garages, or basements, but feel free to look around and let your agent know what you thought. If you want to see a property that's vacant,
It's got potential.
your agent may only show it during daylight hours. Vacant properties should be seen during the day when you can see what safety hazards may exist, like a loose floorboard or any defects the house may have, like mold. When showing your property or hosting an open house, before opening your home to potential buyers, your agent may ask you to board your pets and remove jewelry, family photos, credit card receipts, artwork, prescription drugs, and valued possessions from the home. This is just one way your agent is looking out for you to keep your property and belongings secure. Your agent may bring a colleague to host your open house. If there are several potential buyers walking through the home, even better to have 2 agents on hand to answer questions and keep an eye on things. Safety is an important part of real estate, and we appreciate you respecting the protocols and processes that have been put into place to keep you and your agent safe.
So I thought that was a fun video, a great thing. You know, you can use it in your marketing. It's out there. It's from the National Association of Realtors. Y'all belong to NAR, so I am sure you are free to post and use it. I don't see why not. We're all members and it's out there. I believe where I pulled it from, it actually says that this video is for use, and that's why I decided to put it in here today. So be smart, be safe, be proactive, be prepared with your clients. Safety isn't expensive, it's priceless. A lot of it's just common sense. So do follow your gut. There's that little voice there. Just listen to it and get yourself and your clients home safe every night. That's all I got. You guys, this was recorded, so I'm sure Beth will post it so you can go back and get the little links. But yes, I think that we can post that in the Facebook page, and then you can share it or so that you can get that video. We'll get it to you. Have a great week. Be safe.